Okay, so what are we talking about? We are talking about NextJS. So NextJS, as I said, it sits on top of what? Node. It sits on top of Node. Okay, as far as React is concerned, again, Next.js is completely React based. So using Next.js, the components that you create server side conforms to the standards of React. So Next.js sits on top of yes, correct, Node, and it supports React libraries. In a way, it's Next.js is actually the components that you create in Next.js are nothing but the React components itself. And those components can be, so what is so if you only have React as the development environment, that means you will be building only and only the front side code. So you can compare React and Angular. Where is the comparison? React and Angular, right? Angular is also completely front end. React is also completely front end. In Angular world, there is something called Angular SSR. Repeat. SSR, server side rendering. SSR stands for server side rendering. So it is not that only and only with React you can use something like Next.js and stuff or do server side rendering. Server side rendering can be possible with Angular also. And that is Angular SSR. But then you will need some server in order to run SSR, because the moment you say server side, you need the runtime environment in order to host that server side application. कुछ चाहिए ना? See, Spring Boot, you have got Spring Boot that hosts the server-side application. It listens on a particular port. So with Angular SSR all by itself, no, you need some other library also in order to host it. You will need to start a server. Now, all of that is pretty, at a nascent stage, or somehow that's a different game altogether. But Next.js really shines as far as this architecture is concerned. So React, if one knows React, it becomes easier to understand. But still, you've got to get your head around what is the difference between client-side rendering and server-side rendering. What it really means by server-side code and client-side code. Is that very clear? So when I say client-side code, it will be executing where? In the browser. And when I say server-side code, it will be executing on Node. That's the runtime environment. And wherever the terminal is running. So if my Next.js-based application is deployed on cloud, on whichever machine it is deployed, there it will execute that code there. And then when it renders something which comes on the browser, and if there is some code that runs on the browser, that is client-side code. Is that clear? Right. Okay. So it had taken some time for us also to, understand things and get our heads around it. But then it was, as we proceeded further, it became simple. Now see this. So we already have Next.js based code already written. Okay. So we have this marketing platform, and then I'll go back to which one? I think, no, that application I did not open yesterday, I think. But I have taken the pull, I believe. Here it is. Correct. Cool. Good. So the only thing that we have done here also is what? Customers. We've got page.tsx file. And see here, the architecture is such that we have got, why is this giving an error? Because I have not yet done npm install, isn't it? So package.json file, there you've got requirements.txt. Here you have package.json. Package.json will contain all the dependencies. So see here, when I go to package.json, here are the dependencies. Can you see this? Correct? Okay. So we are going to go ahead with this. So all set, right? All fresh? मैं तो first class नाश्ता करके आया हूँ. What about you all? And I have asked him not to bring lunch for me. नाश्ता ही खाना था यार. माशाल्लाह. It was amazing. Okay. So it's still, now there are no errors. So see, the architecture here is as follows. You will have an app folder, and we call it app router. Why do we call it app router? Because each and every folder over here automatically becomes a route. Is that very clear? So this itself, app itself, this is the landing page. I mean, this is the landing, this is the home. So within this app, the page.tsx file you have, this is something that will be the landing page of your application. अच्छा, ये file का नाम, the name of the file is supposed to be and must be page.tsx. Nothing other than that. We will come to layout. This is also very critical, very significant thing, TSX, layout.tsx. We will come to that later. But as of now, you see this page.tsx. So on this page, in this page.tsx, can you see this? Export default function home. Again, this is what language over here? The language, the programming language is what? We are using TypeScript. When you create this NextJS application, you do have a choice to select TypeScript as the language or JavaScript as the language. We have selected TypeScript and all our projects are on TypeScript. Most of the people you will find, okay, again, it's a choice. That's not that JavaScript is bad and TypeScript is better. TypeScript actually finally gets compiled into what? Transpiled into what? JavaScript. Okay. So this is how you create a function, export a default function, and whatever is the name of this. So you can say home page if you want to be more, you know, peculiar about it, that this is a page-based component. That means this will be the view of the entire page when I visit this route. And this route is which route? Slash. This is the root route slash. So when I run this, how do I run this again? Can I just go here and say npm run dev? Yes, I can do that. And then when I go to Chrome and I go to any one of these browsers here and I say localhost 3000. So I land on this page. Now see the construction of this entire page. This is actually a function. What is this? It's a function. Aapke samne hai. This is a function. Any function in any programming language is a function. It can take some parameters also. And then there will be open brace bracket of the function. And function returns values. Yes or no? May or may not return a value. There may be a function which does not return a value, fine. But these are the kind of components which will render HTML to the browser. Correct? It renders HTML. So whatever you return back from here is rendered to the browser in such a component. Is that very clear? Very simple. So this is my landing page. Why this is the landing page? Because no route app directly page.tsx. So I'm here. Now this is what I have customers. Correct. So when I click on this customers here, now you know what we have not. We do not have anything installed here like Prime Flex or anything. We will do the installation. We will do that. Why? Because all our projects are using Prime Flex as the CSS framework. Again, you have a choice. You may not use Prime Flex because if you are not using Prime components, you will use some other CSS framework. If you are not using Prime React components, I'll come to that. So see here, customers. I click here on customers. What is the route slash customer? Now, how does it understand? Slash customers. This is the folder. Slash customers. So the folder that you create automatically becomes what? A route. Root, route, however you may pronounce it. Okay. Okay, route. So customers. Now within that also, what is the name of the TSX file that is expected that will render the page? Page.tsx. Again, I can very well have layout.tsx over here, which I have not created. Fine, I can create it later. In this page.tsx, whatever it is, see, this is what we have in this page.tsx. And this is exactly what is getting rendered here. So far, so good. The construction is very simple of the project. Now I can go on creating, right? I can go on creating. Acha, agar customers ke andar, if I create yet another folder, can I create yet another folder in customers? Yes. So how will I reach to that page? Slash customer slash whatever the name of the route is. And within that, whatever is the page.tsx, it will render. Okay, na? If I remove page.tsx from here, then it will give me 404. Page not found 404. But NextJS का inbuilt एक route है. If at all it is 404, it will automatically fall back. वो खराब वाला message नहीं दे देगा. Usually एक आता है ना right on the top left corner पे 404 not found. वो नहीं दे. वो एक अच्छा beautiful page दे देगा. It will give you a beautiful page. 404 वाला. So see, let's do this. Instead of removing this file, I will just change the name of the file. Okay, correct. Just some name of the file. Now you see it's giving me 404. If it was something else, then it would have given me over here the path route not found 404. But here it gives you. Why? This is the feature of what? NextJS. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is that I will go back and name it as page.tsx and here you are. The beauty here with NextJS kind of, development environment here is that the moment you make a change in your source code, you will be able to, that change reflects back on the browser immediately. ठीक है? Okay. Any questions here? कोई भी डाउट से तो बताओ. I have a tendency of going a bit fast, but कोई नहीं, बताइए. Any questions? Any question, anything that you may feel. Mehtab, you prefer to be in the backend, on the backend side code, right? And that to Java. आप Next.js पे भी थोड़ा सा ध्यान दो, देखो दोगे इंशाल्लाह, but and see, maybe it interests you. Here also you will end up writing a lot of backend code. Acha, tell me something. You don't like writing HTML? It happens. It happens. Even I'm very bad at HTML and CSS. Is that so? You don't like writing HTML? Acha. Acha, but then Mehta, why not have, see, you are supposed to be a software engineer. In time to come, you will be an architect. Few years down the line, 5 years, 6 years, you will see yourself as an architect working either in our own company or maybe in some other company. So you are the guys who are supposed to know a lot of things. So अपना वो जो एक mindset है ना कि पहले कभी किया नहीं है, बाद में हम लोग मिलते हैं, ये मैं एक और चीज आपको अच्छा एग्जांपल दूं, ठीक है? Okay. Right? That's how it is. Fine. So learn. आप वो mindset दिमाग में से निकाल दो वो बात कि मैंने पहले कभी नहीं किया. Finally, whatever you love to work on, we will put you into that project or something. ठीक है? Don't worry about it. Okay, ठीक है. So this is how it is. And now, you know what? Before proceeding further, I would like to install. Okay, so now before I install PrimeFlex, let me give you the ecosystem of front-end applications. So we know very well front-end applications. Browser, what does browser understand? Three things. Browser understands three things. HTML document. This is a document, right? And then if you go to the main layout.tsx, you will see here HTML yahan se start ho raha hai. Within that body, so this is HTML. So browser understands HTML. Second that it understands is CSS. It very well understands CSS. CSS has got its own language. If you group some CSS, properties, attributes, and its values into a class, then HTML also, browser also understands that if class is equal to something, it will look for that class in the path of your CSS framework, right? Whatever your CSS file is. So it understands CSS. There is a third thing that it understands, JavaScript. Other than these three things, it doesn't understand anything else. So far, so good. Now, when it comes to HTML, what are the inherent components that are there in HTML for the user interface? What I'm trying to say is that अगर एक form बनाते हो आप HTML में, अगर एक form बनाते हो तो what are the options that you have? So I'll just go back to my customers.page out here, and if I have to create a form out here, and that form will help me to take some data from the users. So what are the kind of HTML? Yes. Sorry. No, I'm not getting. हाँ, you are right. Fields की. I'm so sorry. मुझे क्यों नहीं समझ में आ रहा है रेहान, आप क्या बोल रहे हो? हाँ, input. Yes, email IDs. So input, yes, input type is equal to text. अच्छा, यही बोल रहे थे आप ना? Input type is equal to text. I'm sorry, my bad. Input type is equal to text. Button type is equal to submit. Button बना सकते हो. फिर there is yet another thing. What are those? Select है. हाँ, select कर सकते हो. So what are, तो अगर आपको अगर ये देखना है, W3 schools पर है. W3 schools is very nice, HTML. What are the basic form elements of HTML in HTML? Okay, see, it will give us. ये देखो, बस इतना है. हाँ, फील्ड सेट भी लिख सकते हैं. इनपुट है, लेबल है, सिलेक्ट है. सिलेक्ट से आपको ड्रॉप डाउन आ जाएगा. देन टेक्स्ट एरिया है, कुछ ज्यादा डिस्क्रिप्शन वगैरह डालना है. बटन है, फील्ड सेट है, यू वांट टू पुट 2-3 फील्ड्स. लीजेंड है, ठीक है, समटाइम्स डेटा लिस्ट, समटाइम्स डेटा लिस्ट वगैरह जैसा कुछ कभी चला नहीं है. बट देन दिस इज हाउ दीज आर द ओनली वंस दैट आई हैव. Let's use input text out here and I'll show you. See this. We already have customers page out here. and you got some div out here, and then here, let me put something like this, input, and I'll say text, type is equal to, I'll say text. Here you are. Now see, this is how it will look like. ये देखो कितना गंदा दिख रहा है. And then the only feature that I have here is that I can just simply go on typing something out here. I can fill up the value here. But then in real life, you need a lot of things with this. Maybe you need animation that if you click over here, I mean, some placeholder is needed. And then when you click away, the placeholder automatically slides up. बहुत सारी features चाहिए आपको. अच्छा, if I use select, then this is how I will use select. See this, select. And then here I will have option. And here I will have option 1. And then I'll say option 2. And then I say option 3. Now you see this here, option. अभी कितना गंदा लग रहा है देखो. And I also want a feature out here that पहले बात तो दिखता बहुत गंदा है. And second thing is that I want, I must be able to type. It must go to the nearest of what I'm typing. And then very important, what I want here is that I just don't want options. I want the image of the person. Suppose profiles में drop down कर रहा हूँ, तो मुझे image चाहिए, उसका नाम चाहिए, उसके नीचे description चाहिए. ये तो यहाँ सब तो करते करते नानी मर जाएगी. बहुत तकलीफ हो गया. I mean, we cannot do it here. We can do it, but then provided we write our own component with our own CSS to beautify the select, with our own JavaScript that will provide the behavior that I'm expecting in a drop down. Getting the point? अब वो करते करते तो कितना कुछ मुझे अपना ही खुद का लिखना पड़ेगा. Yes or no? Tell me what is Spring Boot written in? Spring Boot is written in which programming language? Java. So if I wanted to create a component over here, I will be using JavaScript, HTML and CSS. मैं अपना एक component बनाऊंगा. Now मैं कितने components बनाऊंगा? And I will end up creating that component in one project, another project. So this is how the world works in software. All those things which are very extensively and commonly used across multiple projects, there are people who have created frameworks and libraries which contains all of those reusable components. We just need to install that library, make use of that library in our project, and use the components that are provided in that library. Is that very clear? So you will find components. If I'm working with Angular, I have huge choice. There are many options available. What are the top UI component libraries? So what is the category of these libraries? UI components. Libraries for Angular. So here I'll get the list. See, there is something called Angular material. This is a complete library. Prime MG is a complete library. NG Bootstrap, all of this, then Clarity, Nebular, all of these are other libraries that you can use in order to get state-of-the-art components out of the box provided by the library. Out of the box किसको बोलते हैं? मतलब कोई चीज आपने खरीद के लाई, आपने out of the box, जैसे आपने बॉक्स खोला और वो चीजें उसके अंदर निकली. That is called out of the box. The out of the box is like, कोई चीज आपके पास, उसमें से ऑटोमेटिकली थिंग्स दैट आर अवेलेबल. सो यू सी एंगुलर मटेरियल, प्राइम एनजी हम लोगों ने खुद ने बहुत यूज किया है हमारे एंगुलर एप्लीकेशंस में. ये हुआ, इट्स अ यूआई कंपोनेंट लाइब्रेरी. So see, now instead of writing my own, one thing is for sure that this component, this kind of user interface looks yuck, pathetic, बहुत बुरा दिख रहा है. This is not what you will distribute professionally, professional applications. So you need, अब यहाँ पे देखो, when I say get started, see the kind of components that they have provided. Okay, so see your templates, components ये रहा. See auto form के components, auto complete. See how beautiful. See, I say IN, ये देखो, isn't it? And there are so many options here, so many options. Drop down. So see how beautiful this drop down is, and I can also search. And these components, note my words, and I'm going to repeat this 3 times. All with me? Right? Turn around. आपकी गर्दन ऐसी दुखती नहीं ऐसे देखते वक्त. Turn around. Yes, I'm talking to you. Turn around. Relax. When I ask you to do something on your machines, then you can just, go back to your machines and do. So, and these components are so very powerful. I'm going to repeat 3 times. See, when you create a component, whether here in this, in UI world or in backend, whenever you create a component, just make sure that that component is reusable. in multiple scenarios. It's not that it is so rigidly implemented. Make sure that the implementation is not so rigid कि वो एक ही जगह यूज हो सकता है, ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. You must be able to reuse it in multiple different places with different kind of scenarios that you may have. Now, in order to support such a functionality, don't you think that the components must be highly configurable? Yes or no? I'll repeat once more. The components must be highly configurable. एक और बार, the components must be highly configurable. That means you use a component and there will be some configuration properties of that component, which when you provide, the component will behave accordingly. Is that clear? Simple है ना? So see this over here. ये देखो यहाँ पे. Can you see all of these are the properties? You can see this here. P autocomplete. That's the prime ng component. And here you've got ng model is equal to value. So this is the property. Whatever value you specify, that will be the value when you when you select. So 2 is the value. So that's the value. That's the name of the property in the object. Drop down true. Yes, it is supposed to be drop down true or false. Otherwise, it will not be a drop down. Some other kind of behavior will be there. And then suggestions is equal to items. Items is actually the name of that array, right? So if I go to TypeScript, it will give me complete code. As you can see here, items, it's an array. So they are filling up this item. Can you see this search autocomplete event? And they're filling up the entire set of keys. And it's just that they're populating this data structure items. And that is provided as a parameter to which, acha, ye dekho, suggestions filtered countries, complete method is equal to so and so, field is equal to so. All of these are what? Configuration properties. Getting the point? Virtual scroll, if you want to provide multi-select. Now, what do you mean by multi-select out here is that, where am I? You see this? You can see this multi-select. So when I say multi-select is equal to true, then this is how it turns. This is how it really looks like. So you will be able to search for it. I will be able to search for it at the same point in time. I can have multiple values. देखो कितना fantastic component है. Now, what do you think? If I try to create a component of my own, first of all, I need extraordinary skills in order to create a component like this. CSS, HTML, तो ठीक है, JavaScript, isn't it? Why would I reinvent the wheel when there is a library out of the, a library available out there, which is absolutely free to use? So Angular, and then if I talk about React, then you see this instead of this, I'll say React. And you will see React ka can you see this material UI? Chakra UI, this is some Indian company. React Bootstrap, Semantic UI React. This is also very beautiful. This is Shad CN. I believe this is Chinese. Chinese people have also done a lot of work. See all of these. All of these are the components that you can reuse in your application. And then if I go to dashboard and playground and stuff and all, see all of these are the components. Can you see? Dekho kitna beautiful component is. See, I can search in this. See, developer, owner, dekh rahe ho? I can search. There are so many components, form-based components. You can see this account, for example. Okay. There are so many things. There are so many things out here. For authentication, you see this. This is a ready-made component that I can use in order to create my login. There you go. Out of the box component. And there are so many. There is something called Gstalt or whatever. The one that we use is Prime React. That's what we use. See this. I go to Prime React component UI library. I'll say get started. You see this. All of these are the components. Components. Here you are. See again autocomplete here. So Prime React and Prime NG are from the same company. Correct. So see this here. I've got everything that I need. See, it's highly configurable. You can see this. See, India. I'm able to, I can very well search for it and so on. So you do have all of these options. I mean, all of these components. Calendar is a component that is available. See, calendar. Now this calendar, do you think there is out of the box calendar component available in HTML? Plain HTML में कुछ ऐसा कोई component है? नहीं है. नहीं, कहाँ है? अच्छा, HTML में calendar. मतलब ऐसे कैलेंडर आ जाएगा या कैसे भी कैलेंडर आ जाएगा। आता है लेकिन है। अच्छा। है। हाँ। कैलेंडर है। नाइस टू नो। हाउ टू मेक अ कैलेंडर यूजिंग CSS। अच्छा, HTML input type is equal to date. You are right. You are right. What he's saying is there see input type is equal to text दिया है ना मैंने यहाँ पे, उसके बदले अगर मैं डेट दे दूं तो वो शायद कुछ कमाल कर दें यहाँ पे। हाँ ये देखो इस तरह का सी। वाह। थैंक यू अमर, मुझे ये पता ही नहीं था। ओके सो सी हियर, सो आई कैन सिलेक्ट अ पर्टिकुलर डेट। वाह। अब अच्छा नहीं दिख रहा है बट है, आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स है। सो टाइप मस्ट बी इक्वल टू डेट। So text हो सकता है, डेट हो सकता है, all those values are there. ठीक है, but then see this beautiful. So we don't use these calendars, of course, no one uses it. But these are the kind of components. And here you have got so many options available. See, month picker and so on. You see this, you will be able to pick up the month. And it is the same component, but just by the way of configuration, you will be. देखो range है यहाँ पे. Can you see this range? So I can select from year till year. देखो ये range select हो गया. Right? And then button bar, all of this is available. See, clear का option is available. See, month picker, year picker, multiple months. See this. See this. How beautiful this is. On Clear Trip, on Make My Trip, where you're booking your tickets or you're booking your hotel, these are the kind of components that are, isn't it? So you do need a UI. What I'm trying to convey to you is that you do need a UI component library on top of your React application. You have to decide as a tech lead, as an architect, rather, you will decide that what is the library that fits the best for the kind of application that you are building. I am more biased towards Prime React and Prime Ng if it is an Angular application. But again, there are I know people who are experts in this and D, and they swear by it. I don't like it uh, not due to any just because it's Chinese or something. But yes, it's Chinese, and I'm not so sure whether I will be able to get along with the kind of support they provide or whatever. पता नहीं क्यों somehow this is a Chinese company का है ये Ant D. Fantastic. Many people use it. Many people use it. This is also a UI component library. They've got given, see, dividers hai. See, divider, these are the divider components, layout and stuff and all. And you will find lot many components over here. See, switch, for example. This is the component. See, switch. Dekho. Tree select, upload, and you can search for calendar. They have got very powerful calendar. Calendar. They're very powerful. ये देखो, अच्छा, this calendar, okay. No. When you say calendar, this is the calendar that helps you to create events. Right? That's the entire calendar. But no, I was searching for date picker. So A, B, C, D, date picker नहीं. चलो ठीक है, यहीं देख लेते हैं. No, these are all. So this is the calendar. See, this is again. No, so I wanted to search for date picker. No, this is an example that they given. Anyway, they do have really very powerful date picker as well. So see, this is their alert component. See this. These are all alerts. And then drawer component is sidebar. In Prime MG, it's sidebar. See. So all of these are the components that they provide, without which you cannot build professionally looking applications. तो बात समझ में आ रही है? On top of React, you need UI components as well. UI component library is needed. That's really needed. ठीक है? Okay, we're going to go a long way, friends. अपने को अभी तो React Native और उस पे भी जाना है, Flutter पे. Right? We're going to create a niche for ourselves. Okay. So coming back over here, we need to install. अच्छा, तो ये एक तो ये UI component library is clear. Then you need some CSS framework also. Why would you need CSS framework? Primarily, there are many reasons that you will use it. There are many facilities, many features. But then basically आपको एक CSS framework क्यों चाहिए? Don't you think it's very important that you must be able to, I mean, laying out components here is important or not? Laying out the components. मुझे फला चीज लेफ्ट में चाहिए. I need something on the right, and then I need something on the bottom, and then I need something in the center. Then I want something just one next to each other, or someone, I need that. How will I do it with CSS? Now, again, do I write all that CSS right from the scratch, or I use some CSS framework where the classes are already created and I just reuse those classes? What is more advisable? CSS framework, right? CSS framework. Tailwind is being used these days a lot by many people. It's a utility first kind of a framework. See, tailwind.com. You can go here and you can install Tailwind with Next.js based application. But we don't use Tailwind as such. Instead, we use, I think it's a mix and match of both. We use PrimeFlex. What do we use? PrimeFlex. So PrimeFlex is again a utility first CSS framework, and this PrimeFlex goes very fantastic, very well along with Prime React. Prime React. Prime वालों का ही है PrimeFlex, right? And of course, completely free. You see this, and then here they've got modal, and they've got a lot of things. They've got grid. Now, this understanding this grid system is very important. There are understanding flex boxes extremely important, friends. I am extremely bad at it. Each time I just go to cloud.ai and I say मुझे ये करना है तो मुझे दे कुछ अब याद रह जाता है, and then but y'all must be expert on this. It's just that I didn't care to master it. But ठीक है. But this is very critical. If you are not good with this, you will not be able to with this. And there is another thing called grid system. You will not be able to lay out anything. I mean, आपके 2-3 घंटे निकल जाएंगे, बट कोई एक चीज लेफ्ट में लेनी आप ले नहीं पाओगे. और अगर ये पता है तो अभी ये जो जितने भी लोग अभी ऑलरेडी अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम कर रहे थे, इट्स लाइक नेक्स्ट टू ब्रीदिंग फॉर देम. आई टेल देम, हे यार, आई एम अनेबल टू टेक इट टुवर्ड्स द राइट, दे विल जस्ट गिव मी द सीएसएस क्लास दैट आई नीड टू पुट एंड things will come on the right. Getting the point? And don't take it lightly at all. Don't take it lightly at all. And acha, I'll tell you that. Again, UX, user interfaces, the big deal, my dear friends. It's a big deal. In fact, it needs more creativity and more skills in UI world as compared to Java stuff and all. I have seen that, and I have found myself really not, somehow not very good at it. Because to be good at it, what I've seen is that what I lack is patience. मुझे जल्दी 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 कोड लिखा, ये चल रहा है, चल रहा है, चल रहा है. तो पेशेंस नहीं होगा ना, तो आप अच्छा यूआई नहीं बना सकते. You need patience. If you have patience, you will have creativity also. But yes, of course, by the grace of God, I can make out and I can tell you this is bad, this looks bad, and this looks good. This looks yuck, this looks pathetic, this looks good. That's what anyone, in fact, कोई भी बोल सकता है. But वो मैंने अच्छे से study किया that what, how good user interfaces are built. What are the principles that you need to follow? How you do it using HTML, CSS stuff and all, it's your baby. So see, this is very important. So as I said, two things. One is the Flexbox and the other is the grid system. Very important. Fundamental things. These are fundamental things. In fact, I would suggest, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, you will end up spending maximum amount of time laying out the components and making the entire UI. For example, how do I create this entire sidebar and then the content over here? Then I say this must be the space between the content, and then on the right hand side, this is what I want. See, this is sticky, isn't it? See the typography and stuff. So you will end up spending a lot of time writing HTML and using the CSS classes. And in some cases, you will have to create your own CSS class. इस पे सबसे ज़्यादा time जाने वाला है आपका when you are writing Node.js code. Next.js. चलो, let's call it Next.js and React. Next.js based code. Even I'll call it React. When you build user interfaces. Okay, let me put it like this. When you build user interfaces, maximum amount of time will be there. So you need to master that. Is that clear? Okay. So what we will do is that, how do we install this? Now see, let's go right on the top and say installation. So how do I install it? Come on. pip install, npm install. Now I was testing whether you are attentive or not. Okay, no, sorry, my bad. It's not pip, it is. अच्छा, एक बात बताओ, वहां पे pip install आप करते हो तो it will get installed, but then it just gets installed. It doesn't get into your package.json. There it is requirements.txt. How do you get all that you have installed into requirements.txt in Python? Huh? So there are, say, pip install, you have installed 5 libraries, but it will not automatically make an entry in requirements.txt. So when you distribute, you will have to call up that person or send a message, hey, I had installed those five libraries. You also have to install so that it works. So instead of that, you put the entry in requirements.txt. So that guy also doesn't care. He just said pip install -r requirements.txt, all the libraries that are there. So how do you put in requirements.txt? You've got to say freeze, pip freeze, and double greater than sign, say requirements.txt. So it will add the, yes, right, packages there. Anyway, and here you don't have to do that. It will automatically, when I say prime flex, see this over here. See this here. I'll go to my package.json. Here it is. It's open. In this package.json file, do you find prime flex here? Do you find prime flex? No. So I'll go to the terminal, or else here you are on the terminal. Can I open multiple terminals here? Yes, I can say plus. And here I will say now, sorry, what is that? npm install, what's that? Prime flex. Okay. It has installed. And now can you see there is an entry automatically here? So whatever you install, it will automatically make an entry in that. Now when I push the code, you take the pull. What are you supposed to do? Just say npm install. You don't have to specify the library. It will pick up all the libraries that are there in package.json. It will install. So in Spring Boot or in Java world, Maven based projects will, what is the name of the file in which you configure your libraries? Pom.xml. If it is Maven based, because in Java there are many options. Gradle is also yet another option. But here in case of and in case of Python, it is requirements or whatever is the name. There you have the choice of giving your own name. Here the name of the file is what? Package.json, which contains all your dependencies. Right? So we have here, and it's installed. Now, once it is installed, I will be able to use the classes that are there in that. So let me go to page.tsx out here. Let me see whether I can create some classes. So I will just keep this h1 as it is. In fact, I will comment all of this. Right. And let me check over here. You see this layout out here, and I say display out here. This is hidden stuff and all. Is there a container kind of? Yeah. Can you see this card container, flex, responsive, overflow, position, placement, flex box, background, border, spacing, sizing, typography, effects? No. Okay. So what I'll do is, why is this giving an error? Acha, because it's not used. So I will do it with this also. No problem. Okay, I'm here. Now let me check this div. So I'll say div dot. Now I don't know whether you'll get this feature in your community edition or not. So I'll say see if you do not find yourself, if you are not using ultimate edition of IntelliJ, then for React and Next and these kind of front end based, I would suggest you use VS Code. Don't use IntelliJ, because IntelliJ will fail to give you the errors and stuff and all, and it will be very, very tough for you. Right. So all the features that you get in VS Code, I get it over here in IntelliJ. Why? Because I've got Ultimate Edition. Right. It costs just 1,200 rupees. Anyway, so see this. I'll say class name. Here you don't say class is equal to. You will have to say class name, because class is a reserved word there. So it says class name. It will automatically, when actually it is deployed and when it is rendered, it will be class only there in HTML. So I'll say class name. And then I just say double quotes here. It will, I've got all the classes. All of these classes are coming from where? Come on. Dekho, on the right hand side, it very well gives you the name of the library from where that class is picked up. It's being picked up from Prime Flex. Correct. So here what I'm going to do is that I will use container hai kya? Nahi, theek hai, no problem. So I'll say class name is, I'll say grid. See this grid. You getting it? Grid. I'll spend some few more minutes, 5-10 minutes on this, and then we will immediately move on to that server-side coding and stuff in Node, right? And then we'll come back here as time permits. And here I'll say again another diff. Take a look, friends. It's very interesting. I'll say call class name is equal to, I'll say call -6. I'll say this is call 1. And I'll say this is also call 6. This is call 2. Now, what will this do? This will create a 12-column grid system. This grid will end up creating what? 12-column grid system. So when I say first, this is another div, I say class name is call 6. What does this mean? I am using 6 columns and then 6 columns. So my first column will span 6 and here 6. So let's see this here. Okay. Grid use kiya na. Class name is grid. Call 6. I think this is call 6. It did give me, yeah, call 6. Okay, ठीक है. Why is this not giving me grid? Do I need to include this somewhere? Yes, I think I need to. Okay. So I'll go to my installation out here, back again. There is something that I'm missing. So I'll just go back to getting started and node modules after installing. Yeah. Can you see this? I must make an entry of this, isn't it? See this themes and stuff and all. I must make an entry. So where is this supposed to be? The prime phrases, themes, ye raha, variables, ye raha, theek hai. And then classes. Yes. Can you see this? I need to import this CSS file. In my application still, that CSS file is not yet imported. So when I run my application, that CSS file is not there for my application. So I need to import it. What would be the right place to import? I believe, nahi to hum log check kar lenge in our existing application. I think layout.tsx is the right place to import. Correct. One is CSS, the other is SCSS, syntactically awesome style sheets. SCSS stands for syntactically awesome style sheets. Here in this, you can very well define variables. So if I give the name of the variable as primary-color, suppose that is the name of the variable, primary-color. Then in that case, whatever is the color specified, once and for all, say red, so red. Now, in all the other classes, while defining the other classes, instead of saying red, I can use that variable. So all my components I will not use, which are supposed to be primary components, I will not use red as the color. I will use that name of the variable. So tomorrow, if I decide to change from red to blue, do I have to change all the CSS classes or just one single place, the value of that variable? Value of that variable. That's what it is. Okay? Hope that answers your question. अच्छा, let me see. I don't think this also would finally नहीं हो रहा है. तो एक काम करेंगे हम लोग. We will, what it says? It's not found. Acha, SAS. I have not installed SAS. SAS is again a library that I need to install. So what will I do here? I'll just again go back to my terminal. Again, I'll open another terminal and I'll say npm. See why I could have picked up the project from there, but then, getting these errors and doing these things step by step helps us to learn. Correct? So I'll say npm install SASS. This is the library that is needed. SAS. Let's see. Okay, it's installed and see in package.json, you will definitely find ye raha. Now let me go back and check. Yeah, ho gaya. See call 1 and call 2. Can you see that? Call 1 and call 2. Here you are. Very simple. Okay, I want some spacing here right in the. So you see this, I have already created. I'll go back to my customers here and H1 customers is what we have. And here I want to leave some padding out here. So what I'll do, I don't need this. Yes, I don't need that. Okay, so what will I do? I'll say Margin is needed from top empty. And I'll say how much margin is needed. I'll say 5. So you see this here. There was space again. Simple. So I just have to go on using these CSS classes and I will be able to create, state of the art layout. Isn't it? Simple, isn't it? Acha, ab agar abhi now, if I say this is 6, and now if I give another 6 column, or say for that matter 3 column, and I say 3, अब ये third column ये कहाँ आएगा? ये div किधर आएगा? Excellent. Very nice. This will come below. Why? Because 12 is already done. Very good. Excellent. So that means you'll know all of these things, which is really very nice to know. So if I say 3, okay. तो कितने लोगों ने ये already किया हुआ है मुझे बताओ, so that I don't end up spending unnecessary time. कितने लोगों को ये पता है? Excellent. Very nice. Very good. Okay. Here, you'll know this. Super. Grid system पता है आप लोगों को सबको? अच्छा, तो कौन सा framework use किया आप लोगों ने? Tailwind. You'll have used Tailwind. Cool. So Tailwind also has similar kind of grid system, isn't it? That also has similar. Okay, so I won't spend time on this. Acha, what about Prime React? Have you all used Prime React components? You'll have used Prime React? Very nice, excellent. That's brilliant. Very good. What about others? नहीं यूज किया. नहीं, बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत सिंपल है, पप्पू है. You will be able to pick up just like that. So हम लोग एक काम करेंगे, प्राइम रिएक्ट अभी बाद में हम लोग कॉन्फ़िगर करते हैं. लेट्स प्रोसीड फर्दर राइटिंग द कोड टू गेट द डेटा फ्रॉम द डेटाबेस. ठीक है ये? Okay, come on, let's do that. So now what I'm going to do is, acha, can you take a look at this component and tell me, is it server side or client side? Server side. That means the execution of the code that I write over here, ultimately HTML is going to be rendered there only. Come on, rendered to the front end only. Okay, acha, recollect Django and recollect Spring Boot also. There also we had HTML files. The parsing of that HTML file and the execution of the Java related code happened where? Server side only. Am I right? So here also, if I write some code and if it is supposed to be a server side code, all of that code will be executed server side. Okay. And even if this was a client side component, all that I write here in the function, this function will definitely execute server side. But then finally, it will end up rendering the HTML in server side also HTML, client side also HTML. But there can be some additional code that I can write here if this was a client component that will specifically execute only and only where? Client side. And having those components and having those features running on the server side makes no sense. You getting the point? There are certain things that does not really make sense getting executed server side, which can get executed only and only client side. So we will keep this as it is here now. And we want to establish connection to the database. So वहाँ पे क्या था? PyMongo था. यहाँ पे also you will find similar library. I believe the name of the library is Mongo itself. That's the name of the library. Let's see. So if I have to install, what will I do? npm install Mongo. Yes, installed successfully. I go to package.json and you can see here we do have, no, nahi hai. हाँ ये रहा, Mongo. Right, so it's installed. After installing this, I need to do the same thing that we did in Django in order to establish the connection to the database. We did in Spring Boot also to establish connection to the database. Here also we will do exactly the same thing. So I will not reinvent the wheel, and it's, the code that I'm showing to you, I have got this code refined to this level after a lot of efforts. बहुत तकलीफ आया. Initially this was just 2 lines of code in order to get connected to the database. But those 2 lines of code worked very well in the dev environment, but it did not work well in production. There were a lot of issues. So I don't want to get into that. I would like to just pick up that code and show that code to you all over here. And we will copy paste that code. So I'll just go to src, server actions, Mongo. This is the TS file. So I will just copy this TS file as it is. I'll come back here. And here also what I'm going to do is that I've got src folder. This app is everything that is supposed to be, front end related code and user interface related code, front end or back end, whatever the user interface related code. If I want to write such things, then I'll say src, I create a new folder. I say directory. I'll give the name of the directory as server. Chalo. I can give any name. And here I will say, again, a directory, and I'll say lib. Lib stands for library. And here I will paste that. So you see, we have mongodb-service.ts here. Okay. So here you go. You see this? We have got Mongo client. Don't worry about these errors. Why am I getting these errors? This is fine. I'm on TypeScript. चलो देखा जाएगा. So you see this, we are importing Mongo client. वहाँ पे भी Mongo client था, you remember? Django में भी था Mongo client. So you've got Mongo client here, and then there is some code out here which will help me to establish connection to the database. As I said, don't worry about all of this code, and it really took a good amount of time for me to stabilize this. Otherwise, it was not so easy out here to get the. So what do we have over here is, you see this, there is a function called get app db. This will give me the connection to the database, right? Forget about the auth-db. We don't need it at all. So just forget about that. But then otherwise we have app-db. And what we return back here is app-db. So I will have a object that will hold the connection to the database, and the name of the object is, I'm going to anyways push this code. आप लोग बाद में इसको बैठ के आप study कर लेना, right? I won't be able to anyways explain now. ठीक है, तो आप लोग बाद में देख लेना. And this is the function that is called, which returns to me the object and stuff and all. So appdb ho gaya, return appdb. So we have, acha, now how will it get connected to the database? Where is the database string and stuff? See, it is here. Mongo client, here you are. Okay, can you see this? URI is process.env.mongodb URI. That means I must have this environmental variable in my configuration file, in my environment file, mongodb underscore URI. Right? And where is that supposed to be? Tell me. In my, okay, we do not have that yet. So I will create here in the root itself, I will create a file. I will give the name of the file as .env. This is the environment file. And in this .env, I will have that mongodb.uri. Install. So I'll go back here. I'll copy paste this. I'll put it over here. MongoDB URI is equal to, what must be the URI? The same one that we had earlier. So I'll go back to any one of these applications. Base.py. And here, you remember, we created. Yeah, here it is. This is the one. So you are supposed to take the same one that. Here you are. Right? This is the value. Now I must be able to get connected to the database. Let's check it out. So first of all, here, once again, I check this will get the value and then it will connect to the database. Fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'll say app, I'll say customers. No, even before that, just a minute. I will have to create a server side. I will have to create server side code. Acha, I've just given the name of the folder as server, right? It can be anything. Server side code matlab ye nahi ki server ke folder mein hona chahiye. Okay. So here I will create a file and I will give the name of the file as customers.ts. TS. I'm not writing any HTML code out here. It's a pure function code which will do something and return back to me. So I'll say this is supposed to be use server, right? This is supposed to be use server. And of course, this will execute server side. And I'm going to write export function. I will give the name of the function. It is supposed to be an async function. We will talk about async and stuff later. And the name of the function is, say, for example, get underscore customers, or else we prefer this style in JavaScript, I mean, TypeScript based application. So get customers. This is the function. I will get the reference to that. I'll say get app DB. Can you see this? Get app DB here. I will have to say await. I will have to say await. Why? Because here also it is async function. Can you see this? It is async. If you are making a call to any async function, and if you want to get the value from it, then you better say await. Otherwise, also you will have to give await. Even if you're not getting the value, you'll have to say await, right? But in some cases, I'll give you later on in what all cases. So I'll say constant, and I'll say db is equal to await. This gives me an error. ये errors क्यों आ रहा है मुझे? Lint assigned a value, but acha. This is very strict. See, I've used ES linting. So if the value is not used, it will give me errors like this, compilation errors like this, right? I can disable those lint related, replace let with split, disable option, remove unused, suppress. Okay. Why is this? Specify a different type, explicit, no explicit anyway. Okay, I will. मैंने वो remove ही कर दिया. ठीक है, चलो. So we have DB. Now, after having the database, after having the access to the database, what is it that I want to do? I would want to retrieve the list of customers. So what will I do? DB dot, come on, collection. No, this is await DB dot. Okay, sorry. मुझे देखना पड़ेगा. I'll pick up any one of these functions from the DAL layer, and suppose blogs, say finder. And once I get the DB, and then DB dot collection barabar hai. So why am I not getting that? Await DB dot collection. Okay, chalo, theek hai. Let's see. हाँ, अब आ गया collection. And what is the name of the collection? Customer के customers है. You've got customer, right? So this will give me the collection dot, and I'll say find. ये देखो, and I do this. This will give me what? Customers is equal to, this will give me the list of all the customers. Please see this. Await DB dot collection, right? And then find function. This gives me all the customers. And this is exactly what I'm going to return back from here. So I'll say return customers. Right? Achha, now this is giving me a warning. It says, why are you defining the variable first and then returning the value when you do not have anything in between? So why not return the inline the variable? So it's directly return await db.collection customer find. And that square bracket means find all. I mean, open is not square. Open and close curly brace bracket means what? Find all. That's it. So that's what I'm returning back. Now, from where do you think I'm going to call this method? From where do you think I'm going to call this method? I'm going to call this method from here, my client-side code, isn't it? From here. But this is also server-side code. Hence, I can directly write it over here. So let's proceed further with server-side itself. We will get to the client-side later on. So I'll say constant. I'll say customers is equal to, and what will I write here? Tell me. Await. Await. What is the name of that function? Get customers. Here you are. That's it. And this is your customers data. Done. This is your customers data. Here we were mapping. You remember the map that we had used? यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने already use किया है. देखो customers dot length and stuff. Line number 53 map, correct. Okay, so let's use this. अच्छा ये पूरा के पूरा टेबल है, isn't it? What I'll do is that I will go back to Claude.ai. In React, I have customers uh, array. अच्छा यहाँ पे एक चीज और हमको करना था, यहाँ पे see this customer the TS, I better convert it to array and return it back to array because this gives me the list of all the documents. This gives me the list of all the documents, MongoDB documents. I am converting it into an array and returning it back. Okay, so I'll say I have customers, give me code with prime flex to map over these customers, the customers, and display क्या था वहां पे, underscore ID and name, correct? I noticed you want to display customer data with, but I should mention that this is environment, in this environment, Tailwind rather than primarily was styling. I'll create a React component that maps. अच्छा ठीक है, it has given me Tailwind code. Let me copy paste this as it is and see what it does. Okay, here you are, page.tsx. I'll copy paste this here. अच्छा ये पूरा component दिया है उसने. I don't want the entire component, isn't it? What do we want? Only and only this part. Where is the why? I don't need a card component. Card content. It has taken Tailwind. Nope. I want prime flex classes only to be used. I apologize. Okay, so here you are. देखो grid है ना ये. We'll take this entire thing. This is customer. Customer. That's fine. Anyway. Okay. Done. Let's go back and see. No. No data. Customer.ts. There was an await statement here or no? Await customers ts. मैंने डेटाबेस का नाम नहीं दिया. यस यू आर राइट. ठीक है. console.log एंड आई से कस्टमर्स, हाँ नहीं दिया हमने, बराबर है. सो डेटाबेस का नाम भी हमने देना है. App database. This must be the name of the is equal to training, isn't it? Okay. Now see, there is some problem out here. Where is my IntelliChain? Here you are. Okay, I better restart it and let's see. Map cannot read properties of undefined. It's undefined. We are still not getting the data. We are not still getting the data. Type error cannot read properties of undefined map. अच्छा data आ गया है लेकिन. Can you see this? The data is there. This is the response. That's the array. We have converted to array successfully. Okay. बराबर. Say return customers. ये रहा आ गया. See 101 Morgan Stanley and 102 Wipro. लेकिन ये कितना गंदा दिया है उसने. इतना गंदा क्लाउड.ai नहीं देता है, बट ठीक है. It has given me the values. Maybe something has gone wrong here in page.tsx. It's classes that tells you it's not good with prime flex. So where it is p4 map grid is fine. Acha, so it is displaying it in a grid rather than a dev, which is okay, no problem. ठीक है, but at least we've got the data. We will see the UI later. डेटा आ गया अपने पास. ठीक है, क्या किया है हमने एक्चुअली? हमने बहुत सारी बातें की है, बट काम तो कितना किया है हमने? सिर्फ और सिर्फ this mongodb.ts, we have made an entry here in env file. That's it. And the code that needs to be written in order to display the data. And how did we call that function? Await get customers. I've got the data. So what have we done? Finally, we have achieved a big deal. Spring Boot connected to the database, got the data. Django also the same thing, and Node also same thing. Here, am I using anything other than React, Next.js? Am I using anything else? Am I making a call to Django APIs? Am I making a call to Spring Boot APIs? No, not at all. Absolutely not. Everything here, which is not a very, though our entire higher talent is on this architecture, right? But not really advisable when it comes to scalability. ये स्केल नहीं हो पाएगा एप्लीकेशन. 5,000 10,000 concurrent requests मुश्किल है. We will shift to Django or whatever later on, but then otherwise for now it works. Development बहुत fast हो जाता है. Do this on your machines right now, and then we will talk more about React itself. मैं इसे ट्राई करते रहता हूँ. जो जो चाहिए वो मिल गया तो ठीक, नहीं तो कोई नहीं. वेरी बैड. हाँ, नहीं मुझे ये ऐसे जी मॉर्गन स्टैनली के नीचे विप्रो चाहिए. क्या करूं? फ्लेक्स हटा ही दूं? अगर फ्लेक्स नहीं तो वो बाकी की भी क्लासेस का मतलब नहीं है ना. हाँ ठीक है, चलो दिस इज गुड. हाँ ठीक है, दिस इज गुड. सो ये आई हैव दिस, एंड देन आई कैन वेरी वेल हैव दिस इनटू सम अदर डिव्स, एंड देन उसका पैडिंग दे सकते हैं तो सामने सामने आ जाएगा. ठीक है. हाँ, एक मिनट मैं बता रहा हूँ, रुक जाइए. और यहाँ पे मुझे आईडी इस तरह से नहीं चाहिए. सो दिस इज हाउ. यप. So I've got this. Yeah, I'll show you. See here. This is how you're supposed to create. Can you see this server? This server is supposed to be there in src folder directly. अब इसका कुछ भी नाम दे सकते हो. लिब के अंदर MongoDB. एक काम करेंगे, ये मैं mongodb.ts में आप लोगों को दे रहा हूँ. आई एम गिविंग दिस. ऑफ कोर्स आई डोंट वांट यू ऑल टू राइट दैट. आप लोग उसको बाद में स्टडी कर सकते हो. फाइल्स ड्रॉप हो सकती है ना डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे. Yes, I have sent a .ts file to you all. Friends, please pick that up. In Rising Stars, I have given that in Rising Stars. आई एम गिविंग यू customer.ts also. अच्छा, मैं ये इसको पुश ही कर दूं क्या? ओके. Database data displayed. Okay, here you go. Come on, you can take the code from here. Yes, this is important. Why? So that you get that package.json also, so that you can use npm install. Right? Cool. Good. Make this run on your machines.